Does size matter? Or at least does the size of a graphics card matter? Well, Nvidia recently burst in and hushed up the locker room after they announced the RTX A2000, a card that seems comically small by today's standards. However, despite that, it claims to be a powerful workstation card in the Quadro series. But even though it is still a Quadro card, it doesn't have Quadro in the name because Ampere-based Quadro cards just don't use the word Quadro anymore for some reason. And while previously people cared more about the GDP of Finland than workstation Quadro cards, now it's a bit of a different story, because of your standard GeForce gaming oriented cards still being in extremely low supply. I mean, it may make perfect sense to grab one of these workstation Quadro cards now. And with the RTX A2000 being the most budget Ampere workstation card yet, costing just $450, I mean, as long as it's not being scalped as well on eBay, that sounds like a pretty good steal, right? Well, to understand that, let's take a look at exactly how well it could perform. Looking at the specs, it's almost identical to the RTX 3060. In fact, they both even use the same GA106 GPU, though with the A2000 having slightly less cores. Though probably the biggest difference is the fact that the A2000 has a mere 6 gigs of memory compared to the 12 gigs of the RTX 3060, though that probably isn't even a big loss. Seeing how cards like the 3060 are mainly there for high-end 1080p gaming, I mean, at 1080p, you probably will never need that much memory anyway, so literally slicing the memory in half could be a good way to save a dollar or two. However, all of that doesn't mean that this card will just perform slightly worse than RTX 3060, because another thing to note is that the TDP of this card is a mere 70 watts, a whole 100 watts less than the RTX 3060. That means that the clocks have to be way slower in order to accommodate such a low TDP. However, unless Nvidia locked it down or something, and the cooling allows for it, you could probably overclock this card, or if you are really insane, you could always just purchase some aftermarket cooling for it as well. And seeing exactly how tiny it is compared to its GeForce brethren, well yeah, you're definitely not getting too much cooling with this card. So water-cooled entry-level Quadro, anyone? So you get all of that and nothing more for a mere $450. Now that might sound like a bargain, however the RTX 3060, which like we already discussed will perform way better than this card, costs you $120 less. So why on earth would anyone even buy this card? Well, again, it's more aimed at workstations, and the drivers for Quadro cards usually also enable much better performance in these super specific workloads, so that's good. Though, let's be honest, the harsh truth is that most people will be interested in buying this card just because it's a card that's actually available, and paying $120 more for slightly less performance than RTX 3060 will seem like an absolute bargain compared to the kind of prices you can expect to pay on the scalper market for an actual 3060. So for the state of the market, if you really need a graphics card and you can't wait for RTX 3060s to go down in price, I mean, you could technically go for the A2000. Again, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I would just wait until, you know, the whole shortages blow over, whenever that is. However, seeing how some people are saying that this won't improve until late 2022, I mean, this A2000 card may be one of the only ways us gamers have a chance at a fairly decent gaming experience in the current conditions. It's a sad truth, however, hey, having this not really optimal for gaming option is better than having no option. However, if you are being a patient person and just waiting out a shortage, then all that money must be really burning a hole in your pocket, right? Well, thankfully I have a solution for you, or even two solutions. Firstly, there's our channel's Patreon, and Patreon plays a giant role in this channel's future, because even $1 a month, one singular dollar a month, goes a long way in helping on this channel and allows me to make way better videos, along with videos on way more interesting topics. So if you can help ensure that you and others get way more entertainment and information out of this channel in the future, then Patreon is one of the best ways to ensure that will happen. I'd also love to thank my existing patrons Gavin Burns, Ryan, OKB, Meg Sumner, Blake Derake, Shane Allcraft and Lance B. Thank you guys so much, support truly goes a long way. You can also support the channel by using our Amazon associates links down in the video description below as well, because if you buy anything anything from Amazon using those links, then we can send them money while you don't pay anything extra, so it's a win-win. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's fine. Subscribing to the channel also goes a long way, especially seeing how, according to YouTube stats, only around 3% of you are actually subscribed to the channel. And in the video description below is also our Discord server if you want to talk to me or others about this or whatever else really, plus our social media links are down there as well. But anyway, that's what it is, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone, goodbye.